Hey guys, what's up? Phoenix here, and I'm back again in Escape from Tarkov. So, as you can probably tell by the scope that's on the gun, today we'll be covering the Replay thermal sight. I put out a video a couple of days ago detailing how to get it. Essentially, you buy it from max level skier. So today I'm actually be covering basically its use, what I think of it, my opinion from using it, and we'll be doing a raid at the end with it against my better judgment. So, this is the scope. It's really zoomed in there for whatever reason. But yeah, so the scope is a thermal sight. So essentially anything that emits heat, which find something. I'm playing with scavs. I'm offline just to kind of explain it. But anything that emits heat will either appear black hot or white hot, which means that, say those barrels emitted heat, they would be appearing black right now. If I had to change, they'd be appearing white right now. So the way to change that is by Alt and right click. So that's how you use the different scopes and modes. There is a battery on it, as you could see when I first zoomed in, although it's no longer, you can no longer see it. There is a battery. This doesn't affect it at the moment, though later down the line that may be something that's actually, you know, a part of the game. Now, its actual use. So, like I said, I've been screwing around with it a little bit. I'm just going to change. There we go. Zooms in a bit more, which is better. I've been using it a little bit offline, playing around with the scavs, and I have a few issues to kind of point out. So first and foremost, there is this god-awful refresh rate, because it's essentially a camera inside of a scope. They definitely do have a refresh rate, although this one is substantially bad in comparison to how they actually operate, but it was obviously put in for game balancing reasons. Now, on one hand, this makes the scope not quite overpowered. On the other hand, it makes the scope somewhat worthless. It's impossible to get into a decent engagement with, which means because of the refresh rate, your only chance of actually using this effectively is to use it at longer ranges. Well, guess what? You can't. The sight only has a maximum range of about 200 meters. Anything past that, it doesn't pick up its heat signature. Not to mention, it doesn't really zoom in. Zooms in maybe 2 times, but that's about it. So in terms of actually looking at targets at range, it's useless. And looking at targets up close, the refresh rate makes it useless. So, why would you use it? Well, it's a thermal sight. It's pretty cool. It displays, you know, heat signatures, which would be useful for scanning through bushes. But if you're close enough for it to work and you're scanning through bushes, you could probably see the person hiding in the bush anyway. So we're going to head up top and we're going to go find some scavs. But, I don't know, overall, I can understand why it's been balanced the way that it has, in order to not make it too overpowered. But the issue arises with the fact that it's 900,000 rubles, it's the most expensive item in the game. Well, actually no, it isn't. The item's case is. It's the most expensive attachment in the game. It is kind of almost underpowered. The refresh rate, again, makes it useless. It's, you know, limited range makes it useless at range. So you don't really have any examples where it's beneficial to use this sight over another sight in terms of, you know, just usability. There we go. As you can see. Ugh. It's incredibly hard to aim with because of that refresh rate issue. So everything that you see through the sight is happening substantially slower than how much, you know, than the speed that it's actually happening at, which makes it incredibly difficult to track targets. So if I can find that other AI, wherever he actually ended up going. Nope. But yeah, so you can see there, it makes it incredibly difficult to track targets with the way that it moves, and you know, that is kind of the major issue for me. Like, I wouldn't have an issue with it not being able to be used at range, because that kind of prevents some excessive sniping. But, oh, there we go, they're down here. But the fact that the refresh rate is so bad just makes it almost essentially completely pointless to use, because it's impossible to actually track targets at the close range that you need to be at in order to actually see targets. So, overall, I don't really like it. Where the hell did you go? So there we go. So there. That's actually a perfect example of, it's a perfect example of how bad it is. So he was moving backwards and just, the refresh rate is like playing on a fucking CRT monitor from 30 years ago. It just doesn't really work. So, in my honest opinion, It's extremely overpriced for what it is. It's almost pointless to use, and I would actually kind of recommend against buying it, because it's a waste of money. You could buy a weapons case and store 10 more guns for the price of using this thing. Now, with that all out in the open, I'm gonna go jump on factory with this thing. Oh, in an actual match. This is gonna fucking end badly. Oh dear lord, this is possibly the worst one it could have given me, so I'm on customs. This fucking site. I actually have a substantial amount of gear as well. It's probably the first time I've run with the RSAS in quite some time. That is kind of painful to use, to be entirely honest. There we go. So that's the other issue. The site, for whatever reason, seems to immediately start off super zoomed in, super close up, then actually zooms itself back. Okay. Let's head around. We're going to try and take out anyone near this spawn before we move off into the actual map. So this is possibly the most expensive loadout you could actually enter a raid with. We are a little late, so there may not be anyone. But this is by far the most expensive loadout you can enter a raid in. Because nothing costs quite as much as this attachment. But in terms of use, basically down there, near that exit, is as far as you're really going to see heat signatures. So, yeah. Long range use is not viable whatsoever. No one there. So I'm on white hot mode at the moment, so if I come across anyone, they should show up as white. White hot is basically your best use. Okay. Now I'm hoping if I do get into a pickle, basically the only thing that's going to save me may actually just be the Ford armor and gun, rather than any semblance of skill. Like I said, it's just incredibly hard to track targets using it because of the way that it works, which is both good and bad. I'm not looking forward to this. I'll get my stamina back. Okay. Let's head around. I want to kind of get into a decent position, but customs is not the best for that. So let's see if we can actually find people. It's not giving me any heat signatures for down there. That's the thing, it's not even enough of a zoom to be used at long range. So basically the only reason you'd buy one is for, you know, just basically for bragging rights to say you have one, because it's not an effective attachment by any stretch of the imagination. It just really isn't. And in addition to that, it's so expensive that you're risking losing 1,000,000 rubles on a raid for something that doesn't really benefit you in any way, shape or form. Like, the thing is, the bushes actually cover a lot of what you'd see through, so even for its basically really only use, you can't use it. Oh, there's shit going on back here. God damn. There we go, there are people back there. Let's see if we can pick anyone up. No. Can't. It's kind of exactly what I was talking about. So there is someone down there because they are throwing grenades. We just can't see them. In fact, there are most likely 2 people down there. That's the thing, like, looking at that, it's just... that's impossible to see, so white hot's your best bet. Actually seeing someone is incredibly difficult, let alone tracking them. No. No one. Alright, I'm gonna move off. Maybe actually find someone Even some AI would be nice at this point. We'll see what happens. No. But, like I said, just overall, it's not really worth using. You don't get enough of a benefit. There we go. So you can barely, well there we go, that's a perfect example. There's a tree in the way. You can barely see people through foliage. And then in terms of actually using it, it is accurate, which I'll give it that. But it's just not worth. It's just so not worth A, the price, and B, the risk of taking it in. Alright. So, I would continue to look for players, but honestly, I think that kind of showed us real-world use case. More than, you know, looking for players ever could, it's just not worth running with. So, overall, from my experience using it, playing around with it offline and online, it's just not worth buying. Like, you can't really use it through foliage, which is its real only use. Not to mention, you know, the fact that it's barely, you know, able to detect heat signatures at anything greater than 100 meters. So, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. There we go. You know, if you want to see more... God damn it, where are you? Let's go kill this dude first. Actually give me somebody to run with. So there we go, so it did help me kind of identify where he was a bit quicker, but not quick enough. Anyway guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, want to have a chat, or have your own experiences with this scope, chuck it in the comments section below. And yeah, so guys, like I said, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.